What you are about to experience is out of this world. Politics, history, and of course, a lot of entertainment. It's time to rock it with the Docket.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Dockery with the Dockery Docket. We are here with our very 131st episode of the Dockery Docket. I'm excited to be here, and I hope that you are excited to be here as well. And if you are excited to be here as well, make sure to go down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so you never miss one of my videos. So this week is the very last week of America Month, and I was going to put a America Month fact at the very beginning of this episode, but this episode is just too crazy, it's too full of stuff to do that. Because it looks like Donald Trump is going to go to prison. Again. This time, they really got him, guys. I'm telling you, this time is it. I will tell you this much, though. I am absolutely sick and tired of all of this crap. Why can't they just leave Donald Trump alone and let him run for the presidency in peace? They don't need to do all of these stupid, different investigations. Let the American people decide on their own. We all know this is a political attack on the leader of the Republican Party. If this exact situation was happening in another country like the Congo or Venezuela, we would be calling the leader a dictator and someone that we need to get out of office right away because he is a danger to that country. Well, in our situation, that is true. I believe that Joe Biden is a threat to this country, and we are lucky that he barely even knows where he is, because if he was sentient, it would be a whole lot worse for this country. Right now, and ever since Donald Trump became the president, they have been grasping at straws and throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. How can we stop this man? How can we stop him from staying the president? I mean, what is this? The 10th or 20th investigation that they have done on Donald Trump? I mean, they've had, 2 impeachments, the Russia stuff. You know what? Instead of boring you with a whole list of things, I decided to make a song. Just take a listen to this. Hit it!
Did everything right and they indicted me.
Russiagate, BuzzFeed, P-Tape, Chris Steele, Don Jr., Trump Tower, Putin puppet, Robert Mueller, Bill Barr, exoneration, phone call, Adam Schiff, impeachment number 1. Ukraine, quid pro quo, that's a big no-no. I wanted nothing, perfect phone call. Zelensky, Pelosi, cheering as it passed through. This is getting out of hand. What else can they do? They will indict the Donald. They will keep on digging till they find something. They will indict the Donald. Though he didn't do it, they will try to find it. 2020, count the votes. Trump rally, big crowd go to the Capitol, getting out of hand. Mike Pence evacuate Capitol, policeman with the horns. Trump says to go home. Everyone is angry, including yours truly. Threat to democracy, insurrection. AOC almost died a block away. Impeachment number 2. What else can they do? They will indict the Donald. They will keep on digging till they find something. They will indict the Donald. Though he didn't do it, they will try to find it. Alvin Bragg, bribe money, Stormy Daniels' horse face. Trump goes to court, indicted fingerprints, mug shot, stare down, is released, rape case, memory loss, not his type, dog's name is Vagina.
Or her cat was named Vagina.
Jack Smith documents Mar-a-Lago fell down, shared with a friend. Boxes in the bathroom, boxes in the ballroom, documents at the golf course, president's record check. Let's go after him for that. They will indict the Donald. They will keep on digging till they find something. They will indict the Donald. Though he didn't do it, they will try to find it. So we all know that Donald Trump has gone through a lot of crap. And now Trump is suggesting that he will be indicted for his involvement on January 6th, as Trump posted a message on his True Social account claiming, "Wow, on Sunday night, while I was with my family, having just arrived from the Turning Point event in Florida, where I won the straw poll against all other Republican candidates with 85.7% of the vote, with all polls showing me leading in the Republican primary by very substantial numbers, almost everyone predicting that I will be the Republican nominee for president, and as I am leading Democrat Joe Biden in the polls by a lot, horrifying news for our country was given to me by my attorneys. Deranged Jack Smith, the prosecutor with the Joe Biden DOJ, sent a letter stating that I am the target of the January 6th grand jury investigation and giving me a very short 4 days to report to the grand jury, which almost always means an arrest and indictment." Wait, hold on just a minute. Jack Smith? Does that name ring any bells? Well, it should, as Jack Smith is the man that is also investigating Donald Trump for the documents case. You see, Jack Smith can't just have one investigation open at a time. He has to have multiple investigations open, so then he can for sure get Donald Trump on one of these charges. Once again, he is throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Now they're going after Trump for January 6th because, of course, as we all know, January 6th was one of the worst days in American history and was likened to Pearl Harbor and 9/11. However, thanks to Tucker Carlson, we have realized that, yes, January 6th was a very violent day. Yes, there were people there that were doing violence and attacking police officers, and they should be arrested and condemned. However, there were people that were there at the Capitol that did nothing wrong but were still arrested. For this case, Trump will probably be charged for inciting this insurrection, as the evidence shows that Donald Trump didn't tell people to go into the Capitol, but he told them to march to the Capitol and peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard. Now you hear the words peacefully and patriotically, but really what Trump was trying to say was go into the Capitol and kill everyone. It was a secret Trump whistle that only his supporters understood. Of course, this is an absolutely ridiculous allegation, and it's not true at all, but the media stuck to phrases like fight like hell and interpreted them to mean go into the Capitol and fight. I believe that Trump honestly wanted people to go down to the Capitol and peacefully protest. Was Trump wrong about the whole rigging of the election narrative? Yes, he was. There was little to no evidence that there was large-scale voter fraud. I mean, there is some confusing stuff when it comes to mail-in ballots that probably need to be looked at, just to make sure that our elections are more secure and safe and people can believe them more, and I still believe that the media rigged the election by blocking certain stories like the Hunter Biden laptop story. And speaking of Hunter Biden, they still don't know whose coke that was in the White House. We may never know. If January 6th didn't happen, we might have been able to look into all these different problems with the election. The mail-in voting, the drop boxes, all that stuff. However, after the attack on the Capitol, the media went straight to insurrection. So many people died at the Capitol, and it was all Donald Trump's fault. During this case, they may ask Donald Trump why he didn't stop his supporters from going into the Capitol. First of all, I don't think that Donald Trump had the power to do that, as he was on stage at the rally when the protests started to turn into a riot, as Trump spoke from around noon to around 1:10. After that, Trump then went back to the White House, where he watched the events unfold. At this point, it was rioters outside being violent with police, and things started to get out of hand at 2 p.m., as that was when reports started to come out that rioters were entering the Capitol building. And according to the January 6th committee, for that entire time while the Capitol was being breached, Trump just watched TV. As the report says, here's what President Trump did during the 187 minutes between the end of his speech and when he finally told rioters to go home. For hours, he watched the attack from his TV screen. His channel of choice was Fox News, which I don't know what that has to do with anything. He issued a few tweets, some on his own and some only at the repeated behest of his daughter and other trusted advisors. He made several phone calls, some to his personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani, some to members of Congress about continuing their objections to the electoral certification, even though the attack was well underway. Here's what President Trump did not do. He did not call any relevant law enforcement agency to ensure they were working to quell the violence. He did not call the Secretary of Defense, he did not call the Attorney General, he did not call the Secretary of Homeland Security, and for hours on end, he refused to respond to repeated requests from nearly everyone who talked to him to simply tell the mob to go home. Now, all of that was according to the January 6th committee. Now, Trump might have not told all of his supporters to go home, but the committee is missing the part where at 2:38, Trump tweeted, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." Then another tweet came at 3:13 claiming, "I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you." Then Trump posted 2 videos on Twitter calling for peace and for people to go home, but those were later deleted by Twitter because apparently they were calling for more violence. So Trump was watching the events unfold, but once things got bad, he started tweeting about peace, not violence. However, according to the left, words are violence and words are scary and a threat to our very democracy, except for when they come from Democrats. As if you think back to 2020 and the so-called Summer of Love, there were many Democrats who were calling for violence against Donald Trump and Trump supporters. Just take a listen to this video.
Risings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there. Pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
All of these words that were spoken against the Trump supporters were fuel to the fire that burned down cities and led to many people dying. But they don't care. They are going after Donald Trump because they are so mad about January 6th. They need to punish Trump for all of his actions. And this is why in the case with the crazy lady whose dog was named Vagina, they brought up the grab them by the P-word tape. That tape had nothing to do with the current case, but he needed to be condemned for saying those things. That's why he was charged in that case, even though the evidence was very scarce. The plan for the Democrats is simple. They want him to be charged with insurrection, so then Donald Trump can't run for president again. This was the reason that they all called it an insurrection in the first place. As according to the 14th Amendment, Section 3, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president or vice president or hold any office, civil, military, under the United States or under any state who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemy thereof. The goal is to get this insurrection case to conclude right at the heart of the election. At the time of the conviction, both Democrats and Republicans should have their nominees. Most likely it will be Trump and Biden. Then, if Trump is found guilty of starting an insurrection and they get his name off the ballot, it will throw the 2024 election into chaos for Republicans. Trump's name is off the ballot. Do the Republicans have time to maybe put in another candidate? If they throw in DeSantis, for example, will people vote for him? Or will people write in Donald Trump's name, leading to an unintentional split ticket, losing the White House to Joe Biden again, as he will win by a landslide and democracy will be saved, even though the Democrats successfully arrested their main political opponent. Listen, we are living in a two-tier justice system. This is the same case with the whole email/classified document scandal. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, and others had classified documents, but that's fine. They are allowed to do it. It's the same when we talk about the January 6th stuff. Democrats are allowed to openly call for rioting in the streets. I was there. I remember it. I remember them saying that you can't get COVID-19 while protesting for George Floyd, but you can't go to church or school because that's too dangerous. Oh, they are burning down a neighborhood? It's a mostly peaceful protest. I promise you, there is no violence. There is only love. Then we had a situation that almost turned into an insurrection and was one of the worst attacks to happen at the White House in a very long time. And a lot of people don't talk about this. This happened on May 29th, as there was a riot at the Capitol where BLM protesters were knocking over barricades, and if there wasn't a fence in front of the White House, they would have gotten through. The media didn't condemn the people that were promoting all of these rioters. Instead, they made fun of Trump for having to go down into the presidential bunker, and then ironically, the next day, the media got mad at Donald Trump for stopping a riot in front of St. John's Church, which was the same church that a night before was burned down by a bunch of protesters. But oh no, they were peacefully protesting. Oh no, he held the Bible upside down. Oh no! If he would have done that for January 6th, he would have been a hero, but instead, they get mad at him. I remember the riot, so whenever I hear someone yelling about insurrection, all I think about is the Summer of Love and how terrible that time was for our country. Speaking of the Summer of Love, there was a music video that recently came out that featured some of that footage, and now it is leading to controversy, as there was a new song released by country music star Jason Aldean called Try That in a Small Town. Now, I will admit that I'm not the biggest country fan. I like more rock music. And honestly, I'm not really a big fan of this Jason Aldean song. But I will sometimes listen to 90s country because that stuff is incredible. Anyway, some critics have labeled this song as a pro-gun, pro-violence, pro-white nationalism, and a modern-day lynching song. However, the thing about this song is that the lyrics mention absolutely nothing about race, and in the music video, it shows depictions of the 2020 riots. But those were the last big riots that happened in this country, so of course he's going to use that. I'm sorry to tell you, but the 2020 riots were violent. I mean, I guess you can make the argument that he could have added some January 6th footage to even out the playing field, but let's go ahead and read some of these lyrics. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk. Carjack an old lady at a red light. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think that's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Well, those things are all bad, and you wouldn't want that to happen in any town or any city. This is a good thing to condemn, and also something that a black person or a white person can do. Then the supposed racist lyrics come in, as he says, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on a flag, and light it up. Yeah, think you're tough? Once again, that is something that I personally don't want to happen in my town. And guess what? People of any race can do those different things. Turning to the 2020 riots, there were people that were a part of Antifa that were burning flags and hitting cops and causing violence. And some of those people just so happened to be white. And that's the interesting thing about this whole controversy. People listened to this song and attributed all of the bad characteristics to black people. Isn't that kind of racist? You think that black people are the only group of people that can cause all of this violence? White people do it as well. And the assumption that it is only black people makes you look like, well, when you assume something, a donkey. And it just shows the divide that we have in this country when it comes to race. Then there was more controversy when it comes to this song, as in the music video, Jason Aldean and his band are performing in front of the Maui County Courthouse. Apparently, this was racist because there was a lynching that took place in front of that courthouse back in 1927, and it was also the location of race riots that broke out in 1946. Now, we can agree 100% that lynching is a terrible crime and it never should have happened in this country at all. All of that crap is a stain on this country, and we have tried to get it out for years and years and years. I think maybe it would have been smart for Jason Aldean to pick a different location. Maybe if he did, there wouldn't be this much controversy. But once again, I don't believe that the song is racist, so it doesn't matter where he's filming the song at if the song isn't racist. And another thing about that building is that it has been a backdrop for different things in pop culture. As according to Tacklebox, the company that created this music video, they mentioned that the building was used most recently in a 2022 Lifetime original movie called Steppin' Into the Holiday. Was that movie racist? Did it have racist undertones? Another music video was shot in front of the building. In 2019, Runaway June shot a music video to a song called We Are Rich. Is that song racist? Does that song have racist undertones? Was that music video accused of being pro-lynching? Along with that, back in 2009, the Hannah Montana movie filmed a scene in front of the courthouse. Is Hannah Montana racist? I need answers. Now, I can definitely understand why people are upset about the music video when they assume that Jason Aldean is talking about black people rioting, and if in the song he said something like, and it's all black people's fault, I would understand why the country music television pulled the music video, and I would call him out for that. Because that would be racist. That would be wrong. That would be pro-lynching. That would make everything 110 times worse. He would definitely be canceled for that. However, he didn't do that. And honestly, I think he picked this courthouse because it is in Nashville. And Nashville is the center of country music, so it makes sense that he would film the video there. Also, there are a lot of songs out there that promote drugs, violence, rape, sexual assault, drinking, Satan worshiping, and songs that you are jamming to down the highway and all of a sudden it hits you of what the lyrics are actually talking about. The worst case for that was Cake by the Ocean. That song was fantastic, it was fun, it was hip, but the deeper meaning was terrible. And there are even some edgy music videos, like one where Snoop Dogg is aiming and firing a gun at a mock clown that just so happens to look like Donald Trump. All music genres do this. Some do it to be edgy and some do it to get attention, but if we are calling out one, we have to call out the others. And personally, I'm honestly really interested in hearing what you have to say about this song. I don't personally like the song, but I don't think the song is racist at all, and you might have a different opinion, and that's perfectly okay. All I'm saying is that we can't have this double standard. If someone does something wrong, they should be called out for it no matter what their political affiliation is or what they are singing about. I honestly don't care. If nobody is above the law, if violence is bad, let's start acting like it. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.